what role does education play in terms of national security mechanism?
I think, firstly, I must thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact with such an august gathering of academics, educationists, intellectuals, and people who are heading organizations in India and abroad. I, for one, would like to say, when you asked me to interact, education and national security are two different, very vastly spread out fields. But I gave it a thought and I came to the conclusion that they have a very intimate linkage. Education of our future generations with the right amount of awareness of national security concerns, of a growing power, of an emerging actor on the world stage, is, I would say, of very primary importance. But I think national security somehow gets a back seat because it's the last program today. So people perhaps may be reaching this end of the tether of their receptivity, but notwithstanding that, I look at it, possibly it's an important factor, so the last word is being said about it. So I take it that way. Now, we have traditionally and historically as a society believed that we were secure and we were abundantly endowed with resources and good weather, climate, river systems, forests, to sustain a large population. And therefore, our scriptures were very rich. They talked of high philosophy. We had the Himalayas in the north. It's the unbroken longest chain of mountains of that altitude anywhere in the world. And we had the seas and oceans, which we also thought would give us security. So we took our security for granted. So education now, in today's day, in this epoch, plays a very important role, because if we tell what are our national security concerns at the appropriate level and the appropriate manner. So you could start by talking about geography. Unfortunately, like somebody said, some subjects have been taken away, moral science has been taken away. I think geography has also lost its importance in schools. People don't know, if you tell them to draw a map of India, he'll draw it like Australia perhaps. He wouldn't know that we have a 7,000 kilometers coastline, which is vulnerable. He wouldn't know that the Himalayas is not like a wall made by human beings. It's nature. There are rivers cutting across from Tibet into the Indian plains, North India, and those create valleys through which people can come, and they've been coming. So I think if I have answered your question, education is fundamental for making a society aware of their national security.
I have a question, General JJ. There appears to be general lack of security consciousness amongst the citizenry in India, amongst the civilians, should I say. And do you recommend that we should introduce national security as a subject in the curriculum at maybe higher education or it may be secondary level?
Yeah, I'm very positive that this is a deficiency, and therefore what is happening is that across the board in the country, we have leadership at various levels and the lay persons and the polity who are not aware of what are our national security challenges. You know, if you want to be an actor on the world stage, you must know what all goes into getting that position. and to be able to play an important role in the Committee of Nations on the international stage. And I believe that if this kind of a thing has got to be done, we need to introduce it at every level so that our citizens are aware what the realities are of a security situation of our country, and the political elements, the political leadership also gets educated and aware of these challenges, because they are the ones who finally will have to take decisions. In the absence of their being given some education or awareness in this field, I find that we have been in the past making mistakes in policies and decision making because of this deficiency.
General, one more last question I'd like to share with you. We have huge problem on insurgency in the northeastern states, and something that hasn't died in the last 50, 60 years. Of course, it has been within containable limits. And apart from that, now we have a huge problem in Naxalite-prone areas like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Orissa, a very large part of eastern India. In fact, we have almost 200 districts of India which are affected by this Naxalite problem. And with this kind of threat perception, apart from J&K, I'm talking about rest of India also, do you think there could be a case for some sort of compulsory military training for the younger people, the kind they have in the US, or maybe not in the same model, maybe in some other model, some other form? And that is one. And secondly, do you think that youth should be exposed to some sort of military training, maybe in cantonments, in peace areas, in other garrisons?
I think it is mandatory for every nation which aspires for greatness to equip its citizens with that kind of background knowledge. And to a large extent, I would say, our experiment with the National Cadet Corps has been a huge success. There are in lakhs who have graduated from the colleges and who have been imparted training in the National Cadet Corps. And they are certainly more aware of military matters than the others. I feel this should be expanded. Besides this, yes, more interaction between the armed forces in peacetime and the people at large by giving them certain demonstrations, by giving them some expositions where military equipment and other things are shown. Besides that, there is interaction at much greater level, even asking military people to go to schools and address the children, go to colleges and address them. But it doesn't always happen that you can only call people so-called who are intellectuals or who are academicians or who have done very well in various other fields. People from the military forces are absolutely well-trained, well-educated, and they can be excellent motivators to our youth and also talk about national security with them. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say I am a firm believer that if you recall in history, they say the strong do what they want to do and the weak suffer what they have to suffer. So how can you be an important nation? How can you be economic power if you're not militarily also strong? That strength is important because it is a deterrent to anybody, and they say, well, don't mess around with them. They are strong, they can defend themselves. And therefore, to live in peace, you must be prepared. You must be militarily prepared. You can't wish that, yes, our nation wants to live in peace, we are peace-loving, we have no extraterritorial ambitions, this is our policy, and we have no desire to impose our ideology or our thought or our way of functioning to other neighboring countries. We say we want to live the way we have chosen to live ourselves, and we have a very, very sound constitution. We have a polity which is democratic and has all the pillars which are required to be an important nation in the world. So I think it's very important for us to make sure that we tell people that our security challenges are on the borders, because these borders were never defined and demarcated except in certain areas. And therefore, there needs to be negotiation. It has to be done peacefully. But unless there's an awareness, and the political class also needs to be made aware of some of these very important things, because then only proper decision making at the national level takes place. So I view that India can be an important player only when it is economically strong and militarily strong.
My last question to you, General, is that many analysts have attributed rise of Naxalism, insurgency, and even terrorism to lack of development in many regions of India. And that's where, because literacy is a very important component in that development process. So do you agree that rise in educational levels, and particularly literacy in many parts of these areas which are affected by insurgency and terrorism, would be affected, and the quality of consciousness on national security will go up, and we'll have lesser of these problems? Do you agree?
I agree with you. I agree. And I also want to add that India is a country which has tremendous experience of handling terrorism and low level of insurgency. It was a difficult situation in Mizoram, which is today totally peaceful. Another full-scale insurgency in Punjab, it's also very peaceful today. And similarly, we have brought the levels of violence in Assam, in Nagaland, in Jammu and Kashmir also to manageable levels. So I think India has handled these challenges quite well. As far as what you have said, I agree. The education of the children and the youth in these insurgency-affected areas will help in their understanding their role as future citizens of this important country, as future leaders of this country. And I am very happy to tell you, when I was commanding troops in Kashmir, there were Navodaya Vidyalayas, there were army public schools in very difficult areas, but we ensured that their children, their education was not disturbed, because the stakes are high and we wanted them to get their education.